Are extremely talented agents and investors from across the country. Today is April 23rd, 2023, and this is All the Leads Mastermind podcast number 421. I have nothing this week, nothing to start, Bruce. The floor is yours, sir.
All right. Thank you guys for joining this week. Jim, did you say it was podcast number 423?
421.
421. Okay.
Yep.
All right. My hearing is not what it used to be. So I want to thank everyone for being here. Scott did point out, Jim, that you did say it was April. It is not April. It is March 23rd. So we're off to an amazing start.
I'm future pacing. I'm just,
Yes.
I think so far ahead. Thank you. I have no idea where I got April from. Who knows?
Cut back his medication, please.
It is March, everybody. March 23rd. Thank you for pointing that out.
Oh man. We are we're excited to have everyone here, guys. I was just talking before we started the mastermind that I went and did something really unique last night. For the very first time in my life, I'm 43 years old, and I went to a Brazilian jiu-jitsu class. And so I can't move my body today. Hurting about 9:30 this morning. I was like, if I don't get up and move a little bit, I'm not going to be able to move at all for the next few days. So I did go out for a little bit of a walk, but that was fun. If you guys have never tried it before, I highly encourage and challenge some of you that are of able body to go and check something like that out. It was fun and quite physically exhausting as well. So who are we? We're All the Leads. We do this podcast every single week, this mastermind call every week. If you're listening after the fact, you're probably on our YouTube channel or podcast, or maybe checking one of our archived calls out. So if you are not here live with us, Thursdays at 1:00 Eastern time, you can find us by visiting alltheleads.com/live. Those of you that are here right now are like, just get to the good stuff, but I got to go through the stuff for those that have never been here before. If you are new here, this is an open Q&A call. We are here to answer your questions about your probate business, about getting into the probate business, how to set yourself up with this niche, or if you're already a subscriber of All the Leads or someone that's working probate, we're able to take questions and strategize with you or hear your success stories around attorney relationships, direct mail marketing to your leads, phone prospecting your leads, essentially building up a business for yourself, websites, video content, whatever it is that you guys want to talk about. That's what we're here to talk about with you guys. So I'm going to challenge everyone that's on the call. If you're on Zoom, go to the reactions button. Click the reactions, raise your hand. That's how you're going to be able to ask questions. We also want to hear success stories. So if anyone has recently closed a deal or put a deal under contract or had an amazing conversation with one of your leads, we want to hear those. If, as a matter of fact, we'll give you $100 off your next month of leads if you have the win or success story of the week. So we definitely want to hear those. If you're watching via stream, which would either be on YouTube Live or Facebook Live, you can chat your question in. We're monitoring that, and we'll answer your question here on air while we're here today. If you guys are interested in getting probate leads, go check us out at alltheleads.com. We have our support team and our sales team that's there. They can chat with you, or you can call the phone number there and talk about getting your leads and kind of jumping into our system. So while we are waiting on some of the hands to go up and some of the questions to come in, I just got off of a coaching call this morning, and I wanted to share with you something that that was discussed on that coaching call.
Hey.
What do we got going on? I hear a bunch of noise in the background. All right. So on this particular coaching session, the person I was working with was talking about how it can be a little bit overwhelming setting everything up. not just in probate. We were talking about business in general, and how there's these 20 things that we want to do with my business in the future. And how am I going to have time to set all these things up? How am I going to have time once they are set up to really kind of perfect and be able to work my system? And the idea here for everyone, when you are taking on a new niche in your business, and I'm a big believer that you should have multiple different sources of business, streams of business coming into your business, lead sources, things like that coming into your business, because if one goes a little bit dry, you have others that can kind of hold you up. So I'm a big believer in that, but it can be overwhelming when you're looking at the big picture of everywhere you want to go with your business. And I'm just going to challenge everyone here to remember, you don't have to eat an elephant all in one bite. You just do one bite at a time, and you take on a little bit at a time. And once you have streamlined that aspect of your business, you can then put it on autopilot and go take on another source of business. So the idea for those of you that are getting into maybe probate business is that you don't have to go out and perfect every single little thing that we teach today. You can add a little bit in at a time. And we're here talking about probate. If you're bringing on probate, our process that we want you guys to follow is do direct mail. So you want to set up a direct mail campaign for your leads. They need to be able to see you month in and month out for the life cycle of your prospecting effort. And that may be 4 months for some of you. It may be 10 months for some of you. Might be longer, might be shorter, but typically somewhere in that half a year range is how long you want to be in front of your leads, because that's how long it's going to take most of them to actually start to do real estate business. So do you have to go out and start making 300 calls a day and sending 15 letters out right away? No. Do you have to have a website built instantaneously and all these videos instantaneously and talk to 10 attorneys tomorrow? No. If you're new, what you want to do is go in and get your mailing strategy set up, where you know how many mailers you're going to send out over how long a period of time. Go in and pick your first 3 pieces. Even if you're going to do 8 pieces over the course of your campaign, you don't have to write all 8 letters today. You don't have to pick all 8 of our templates today. Pick 3, get those started. Once you have those, add in a website. We can build it for you. Once you have those, make sure that you're in the prospecting class and you know how to have a good conversation when you get on the phone. You add a little bit in at a time, but start with just one aspect first. That'll keep you from getting overwhelmed. Once you have that aspect built into your business, you streamline it, and then you add the next piece in. So it might take you 15 or 20 hours a week for the next month to kind of streamline everything in your probate business. But once you have that streamlined, you can put it on autopilot, and you can really dial that amount of time that you're spending in this particular aspect. You can really dial it back. Okay. But at least put some time in to add little pieces into your business every week, every day, a little bit at a time, and do not get overwhelmed. We'll take you somewhere really good if you just take one small step at a time, though. All right. Hopefully that encourages some of you that have been frozen. And I hate seeing people get stuck when they're adding a niche into their business. And most people that get stuck because they look at the whole picture and they go, I can never add all this. And the truth is, you'd be surprised at what you can add in a month or 2 if you just take little baby steps into it. All right. And if you need help with that, Chuck is here. Chuck can help you with those strategy coaching calls. So if you're a subscriber, you get a free strategy call every month. You book it on the All the Leads website, and Chuck will walk you through what baby step you should take this week or over the next 2 weeks. You take those, get another strategy call. You get one free a month. If you want to talk about advanced coaching, we can always talk to you guys about that and do a weekly or a bi-weekly coaching call as well. But at least get that free strategy coaching call so that you know what your baby steps need to be over the next few months. If you guys are longtime subscribers and you've been doing this, but you haven't perfected your system yet, get on Chuck's calendar, come to these masterminds, come to some of the classes, and figure out how to baby step yourself into a system. but don't get overwhelmed. And if you are overwhelmed or stuck anywhere, just start taking those small little steps. And I've got some hands up. Let's go to Joe first. Joe, go ahead and unmute yourself. How's it going, man? It's been a while.
We're doing great. For all the folks on here, if you haven't really worked at developing relationships with probate attorneys, that is such a great source. And there's never any question from the client, the personal representative of the estate, when they've been sent to you by the probate attorney. I've gotten 3 referrals this month from probate attorneys who are already listed. One I'm meeting with next Friday week. It's just golden. When the referral comes from their probate attorney, it's a lay down to get the business. So if you're not working to get good relationships with probate attorneys, start doing that. You've only got to develop 1 or 2 a month. And 12, 18 months from now, you're going to have a flow of business coming in from probate attorneys. It's so easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a magic phone call or a magic email. Sometimes I just get emails from them saying, here's the information, contact the client. They're expecting to hear from you.
Yep. And think about this, guys. You all are working to build relationships with your prospects and your leads as well. Just imagine what happens if they've gotten a voicemail from you. They haven't even answered your call. Let's just pretend they didn't even answer your call. They got a voicemail and a letter and a postcard from you. And they go into their attorney, and maybe your brochure's at the attorney's office, or maybe the attorney references you. Even more powerful, they go, oh, yeah, I think I just got a letter from Joe, or I think I heard a voicemail from Joe last week. I missed his call. You recommend him. It's just exponential power when you have the attorney that they're working with and trusting, who is also endorsing what you're offering, that they're getting and direct prospecting from you. But Joe, yeah, tell us what have you done? What are some of your tricks to building these attorney relationships, Joe?
I have just called on them on a regular basis. I've dropped into the office. I've left my brochure if they didn't have time to meet with me. I've followed up with phone calls, and I've just stayed at it. It's not like you got to go out and try to do 20 or 30 in a week. Just do 1 or 2 a month, and you build the relationship over time. When you get a referral from them, be sure you do a great job for their client, and their client comes back and says, oh, he was fabulous. Mm-hmm. He really took care of us. When you get your first one, really go overboard to do a great job, and be sure that feedback gets back to the attorney from the client. And then I've got several now that just say, you're my guy for real estate for my clients. I mean, it's just created so much easy business.
Mm-hmm. So those of you that are looking to build attorney relationships, and you don't know who to go after, go to your probate list. We show you exactly who the attorneys are that they're working with. Pick 1 or 2 attorneys that you see their name pop up a lot. And then pick 1 or 2 attorneys that you almost never see their name pop up. Why? Because the attorneys that their names pop up a lot, they're going to take a little bit longer to nurture into a good referral relationship. The ones whose name pop up sporadically, they're probably newer attorneys. They don't have a lot of business. Many times they don't even have a paralegal. They're going to be easier to get a hold of, and they're going to be looking for more help. So those kind of solo attorneys that don't have an established business yet, it's going to be easier to get everything from them quickly, even though everything might not be a lot from day one. If they are growing, you can literally grow into the probate business with them and get everything. But you also want those big players as well, who are going to take a little bit more nurturing. It's going to take a little bit more cultivating of that relationship. And Joe, I loved what you said. It just piggybacked perfectly. You don't have to pick 20, pick one or two. Go ahead, Joe.
One thing I have found, the biggest probate attorney in town has a long-term established relationship with a real estate agent who is the son of his former law partner, who eventually was mayor and a U.S. congressman. And that relationship can't be broken. So you'll probably run into some of those kind of relationships that you just can't bust into. I took y'all's advice when I was first getting started and identified who was doing the most probates, and I went after those guys or gals first. But the number one probate attorney in town has a relationship I can't break, and you'll probably find some of that.
You'll find some of that, Joe. I'm gonna tell a story here real quick, and I'm gonna point a really bad finger at myself. And I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't completely ignore the relationship with that attorney. Back several years ago, I met a couple that were bankruptcy attorneys in my market, and I met them at an open house. And they expressed how they had an amazing relationship with a real estate agent, and they sent this agent so much business, and that he'd been kind of letting them down here recently, and that they wanted to try another agent. I kind of struck a chord with them. We talked the same language. They liked me, and they gave me a shot with a lead or two, and I did a great job with their business. And over the next 5 or 6 months, I worked myself into being that number one agent when they had a number one agent. And I was the guy that they sent everyone to. I was getting 5 or 6 leads a week from this couple. And I got a little bit busy at one point, and I knew when I got busy, because of the way that that the leads slowed down and some of the ways that my calls went unanswered, coming out of that busy phase where I wasn't nurturing that relationship, I knew that the same thing was happening to me that had happened to the former agent. And I got, for a couple of years, I was really close with these guys, really, really, really close. But because I neglected the relationship a little bit, and I got busy and I wasn't as responsive to their leads and things, they went to someone else. And I haven't received anything from them now in over 2 or 3 years. And I'm kind of pointing at myself to let you guys know that it doesn't matter sometimes how strong the supposed relationship is with whoever they're sending business to, even if it's the son of a former business partner. Okay. That person can always drop the ball and hurt the relationship and cause the attorney or whoever your hopeful referral partner is, cause them to want to spread the ball around a little bit more. And just because there's what looks like an ironclad relationship out there doesn't mean that it's always ironclad. I have lost and gained relationships based on my schedule and based on the schedule of other agents that I thought would never lose their position with my referral partners. So just because you hear that somebody's getting all the business from an attorney that you're working on doesn't mean that you can't take top place or at least work yourself into rotation. You just have to work on it. And then once you have it, don't do what I did and take it for granted, because I've lost business from attorneys that way. So don't do that. But just recognize that your competitor may lose that attorney's trust with a couple of bad months, and you can easily work yourself into a rotation at minimum.
The other thing about working with attorneys is that while you're in process with one of their clients, give them a periodic update.
Mm-hmm.
Every couple of weeks, just update them with where it is. And and let them know you're still on the case and you're still paying attention to their client and it's moving forward.
Absolutely. Very, very important updates. Joe, it's funny. I went so far with one attorney, and I kind of regretted this a few months into the relationship on my third or fourth referral. I went so far with one attorney that was just spread way too thin. No paralegal, no assistant, no secretary, just getting cases handed to her by the courts, as to tell her that she could treat me as her paralegal.
Oh.
And that got me a lot of business. Now, I did regret it a few months in when she'd be like, hey, can you run this paperwork up to another client? But every time she would hand someone to run paperwork up or handle something like that, it came with business. So for those of you that have a little more time on your hands, you may want to think about offering that kind of service. Not paid service. You're not legitimately paralegal or anything like that, but you may want to offer that level of service to the attorneys that you're working with. So, Joe, thank you so much, man. Anything else to add?
That's it.
That's it. Good. Thanks, Joe. Let's go to Dwayne, and then I've got some questions that have been chatted in. I'll answer some of the chatted questions after Dwayne, and then we'll go to Roger and Travis. Dwayne, go ahead and unmute yourself.
You hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Before I get to the main thing, while I have you in front of me, Bruce, is there going to be a recorded session of the one you did a couple weeks ago? It was for 2 days, a Wednesday and a Thursday. Is that going to be put out?
Yeah, that actually already has been put out. If you didn't get that, send support a message. Or
Okay.
call support. They can send you the links to that, but that class was put out. If anyone's missing it, check your spam first.
Yeah.
And if nothing came in, then support can get you a copy of those.
I couldn't make the second day, so maybe that was part of it. So anyway, thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Actually,
I've-
Dwayne, I know why
yeah.
you didn't. We added you. You took the class before, so you weren't on the this month's rotation. So I'll send it out. I'll send it to you, Dwayne.
Okay, appreciate it. Thanks. I've heard it suggested several times over the last few months that it's a good idea to go to court, probate court, to observe what have you. I reached out to the Register of Wills earlier this week, found out when they have it, what times, etc. And I was just, having said that, I was just curious if anybody has any tips or advice as to when I do that, what to observe, that along those lines. That's my question.
So I want to call on Chuck and see if he has anything, and I'm also looking here to see if Courtney Rollins is in the audience. Courtney, if you're in, would you raise your hand? We'll call on you because you recently did that. And Chuck has worked a lot with Courtney. Chuck, if you would unmute yourself with any thoughts or ideas. Every court's a little bit different. Our subscriber, Courtney, actually got to sit in on an individual case. So he went in with the magistrate and sat on the probate cases. They were setting everything up. And the clerk was very open to having him just sit into that small group discussion. So that would be one thing. Chuck, do you have anything to add there?
No, I think that particular relationship was specific to the clerk of the court. I mean, she was thrilled because they're standing on the other side of the counter from a lot of confused individuals that are frustrated dealing with the process. So him showing up and delivering the value proposition that he's able to help people settle estates easier than doing it alone. She's like, ooh, I can get some help for clarifying for those particular folks. And even to the point where he's working together with them to set up a monthly workshop where he can have a seminar and have people funnel in and have flyers promoted by the courts. I mean, it's an ideal scenario, and you're not going to get that at every courthouse for sure. But it comes down to, again, going back to Joe's conversation, the money's in the relationships and being able to provide a value proposition that is very interesting to people, that's going to attract those opportunities.
Yep, absolutely.
Hey, Bruce, one of the favorite stories of mine comes to mind. I think it was a year or so ago. We had one of our subscribers was after a multi-million-dollar listing, and I think we've talked about this before, and couldn't get the executor, couldn't get the attorney to return his call, but he checked the court records and saw there was a hearing coming up.
Mhm.
He went to the hearing and he said, I looked around and I sat next to the only guy that didn't have a tie on. It happened to be the executor, and he got into a random conversation with the guy and ended up listing the property. I love that story. So you can meet attorneys. You can also run into or underrepresented executors there also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people, and this really varies from county to county, state to state. But I find in a lot of counties that about a third of your probate leads of your personal representatives have an attorney, which means that in a lot of your counties, 2/3 are completely unrepresented. And that's a big value add to the attorneys you're building a relationship with. And it's also 2/3 of your leads in many cases aren't going to have a clue what they're doing, and they need that guidance. And if you can get into the court and see the process for setting up probate and moving through it, you'll be able to help them even more. So, Dwayne, anything else?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a shot and begin doing that, and I'll report back as it goes.
I can't wait to hear. All
Thanks.
right. So, guys, I want to touch on a few of the questions that have come in. So, number one is I want to kind of make sure that you guys know that this if you find value in this, please share it. I know you might not want to create a competition in your local market, but I'll tell you, we're always going to have people popping up in our local market that compete. But if you guys find value in some of the techniques that we talk about, we'd love for you to share the podcast, share the mastermind access. If you're masterminding with anyone else around the country, maybe not in your market, share it with them. We just want to be here to provide more value to more people. This is completely free and just something that we like to do, whether you're a subscriber of All the Leads or not. With that said, those of you that are not subscribers of All the Leads, we do kind of build out a lot of different resources for our subscribers, mailing resources, website builds. You can get your leads called, all kinds of different things. If you're not a subscriber of All the Leads, but are looking for a mailing campaign or a website or VA services, anything like that, call the support team at All the Leads. We can always give you a price for your county, but even if you're not, even if you're just farming a neighborhood, we have mailing campaigns for you and can fulfill that. We kind of offer a sort of a full service here where you can get as little as the leads, as much as everything done for you, or you can jump in the middle of the stream somewhere as well. Just wanted to make sure everyone knew that. And I was kind of answering a question for one of our valued folks as well. Now, Chris Walters is asked, what are the odds of success with 2 letters each month, a website, and phone calls, and connecting with attorneys? What are the odds of success? I'd say your odds are pretty good. Joe, look at Joe. His thumb is going up. 2 letters a month, a website, you're making calls, and you're connecting with attorneys. It's going to be hard not to be successful. Now, I want to be really, really clear. If your message sucks, you will repel business. Okay, so you want your messaging to be right. All the activities that were just described by Chris are good activities. I got a message from a very close friend of mine a couple of days ago, and it said, hey, I recently joined a network marketing group, and I wanted you to check it out and see if you wanted to sign up. And that was a really close friend of mine that I will probably not read their messages in the near future. And it's because the approach was all wrong. Okay. So there is a way that you can have immense value and present it the wrong way. and drive people away from doing business with you. So you can do all the right things in the wrong fashion and hurt yourself. But if you're leading with value and you don't have commission breath exuding every time you open your mouth and talk to someone, you're going to get business with that type of approach. So 2 letters. I would encourage you to probably do 1 letter, 1 postcard, or even if it's 2 letters a month, maybe squeeze a postcard in, pin it close behind one of your letters, like 2 or 3 days behind one of the letters to reinforce your brand. But that approach is going to be really good. You're building relationships with attorneys. You're making calls. You have a website that you're driving the traffic from those letters to. It's going to be hard not to see success, guys. And specifically for you, Chris, good job. Just make sure that your messaging is good and that it really provides value. It's not always, sorry, your mom died. Do you want to sell the house? That's what you want to avoid them hearing or feeling from you. It doesn't mean that you're using those words, but that's what they might hear or at least feel if you're focused exclusively on, let me buy your house, let me buy your house, let me buy your house. All right, good stuff. And I've got other questions, but I want to go to Roger next. Roger, you're up, and then Travis, you're right after that, and then I'll go to some of the other chatted in questions. Okay, go ahead. You're on mute, Roger. Roger's got a mic issue.
Yeah, I got a
There you
mic
go.
issue. Can you hear me now?
We got you.
Okay, that system's not going to work. All right, throw that over here. Thanks for having the class last week. I really enjoyed your class, and it was really great for me to try to get back into the swing of things. I've been pretty much on the sidelines for 2 years with my health, and I'm getting back on and got associating with a new agent that wants to get into the probate sector, and I'm helping her along, and we're looking at other counties and trying to do something. One of the things that I'm testing on my mail or my phone calls is a checklist to executors or personal representatives. Have y'all tested the question? I have a checklist, and do you have that checklist that's available? It's not. I don't remember it when I was really active before.
I have not tested that with phone calls. I do know that some folks that are using VAs are offering something comparable to that in their initial opening call. I did test a checklist in my mail, my mailers, and I did not get a huge response on saying, hey, I have a probate checklist. Go to this website if you want it, or text this number if you want it on mail. So I would probably emphasize, instead of the checklist, I would emphasize the result. So you're referencing the checklist. It helps you get through probate in half the time and save 20% off your typical probate fees. Okay. I'm kind of making something up right now, but I would potentially touch on the checklist and then tell them what result they're going to get if they follow your checklist, and then maybe send them to your website or have them call you to receive it.
Okay, I'll report back on what I'm doing with my checklist and see if we can do it, because I'm trying to do it to extend and another reason to add value to the phone call.
Hey, Roger.
Yes.
Roger, I would suggest that maybe we take about 15 minutes. I can kind of expand on it, because I think the checklist as the destination isn't going to provide as much value, but as the checklist as a doorway opening their communication to you to be able to provide them additional value. I think that's the start rather than the end. And I'd be extremely happy to spend a coaching call 15, 30 minutes and kind of talk through that process, because I think that can be a lead magnet, the carrot at the end of the stick that opens up the conversation, but you need to continue the conversation. It doesn't stop with the checklist.
That's exactly what I'm doing with it, is trying to use it as a doorway for continued checklist and give them an idea of what they're looking at moving forward, and it might spur a thought or two that they hadn't thought of. And
I think
that's the value that I'm looking to provide.
There's
I
some
can-
digital components to it that where they can access it. We do have a download page now available to add to your custom sites. And there's ways then that if we can integrate that with an email address, right? We'll trade you the checklist for your email address. Then we can start off that delivering of a sequence of value via email. And I think there's a lot of benefit to that, that starts to deliver content that will help them over and above just the checklist.
I can email you my draft or post my draft checklist that I have. I haven't sent it out yet, but I'm intending to start using it on the calls and distribute it from that, getting their email address and say this will give you an idea of some of the things that you may not have thought about in the process. That's what I'm going to use it for, and that just adds more value.
We do have an all the leads checklist that we can customize specific to your brand in your local market. Anyone that's watching can go to alltheleads.com/catalog. And that's where you can find our versions of the checklist that we can, again, customize specific to you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I also attended a trust presentation from the Oath Law Firm and found it was the second trust presentation, public presentation. They welcomed me. They didn't give me an opportunity to speak, but at least I made myself got myself introduced to the paralegal that was there and the attorney who left some of my brochures and letters with them to look at, and anticipating a follow-up visit with that. So getting into the attorney's offices, attending their hour-long or 2-hour-long trust presentation is not an attempt to recruit anybody that is attending as an executor or a personal representative, or looking to shortcut find solutions for their trust, but basically as an introduction to the attorney and the paralegals that are working there. I'm not farming the attendance for anything like that. I love the idea of court appearances. I'm going to start doing that as I start moving forward, and that's all I got. I appreciate your time and appreciate all y'all's effort in putting these things out weekly. God
Roger,
bless.
Thanks so much, man. Can't wait to see you in the next class. All right, good stuff, guys. Travis, coming to you here in 2 seconds. I got a chatted in question from Lily that will take me about 30 seconds to answer, and I'm going to do that first, and then I'm going to call on you, Travis. Lily just asked, said that she has a listing that's been signed. The executors are 3 heirs. Okay. It's unusual that there would be 3 points of contact, all executors. That is quite unusual. It's not unheard of, but it's unusual. And they're trying to open up a trust account, an estate trust account at the bank. And the local banks are not letting them open it up because there are 3 executors, not 1. Is that a problem? Lily asks, is that a problem that we see a lot? Well, number one is you have to realize that it's pretty unusual that there would be 3 personal representatives or executors. So it sounds like whoever at the bank that they're dealing with is just not really able to think outside of the box, because it's not a common thing. So anyone that's ever run into that before, you guys know that they should be able to open a bank account. So Lily, specifically for you, is I want you to use this as a reason to go to banks, local community banks, and kind of an ideal situation. Use it as an excuse to build a relationship with some personal bankers and let them know what you're doing, and specifically what this niche is. This is going to be a good way for you to establish relationships and expand your team. you'll get business from banks too, especially if you offer something really unique like this. So talk to them about this situation, find out if they can help. There's an actor, I've told this story before, an actor, and Michael Caine said that he was learning how to act and he was in acting class, and the main characters on the stage were in the middle of a heated argument, and one of them picked a stool up and threw it across the stage and into the doorway where he was supposed to make his stage entrance, and it blocked the door. And they were just practicing, so he looked at the instructor. He said, I can't get through the door. What am I supposed to do? The stool is in the way. It's wedged into the door. And the teacher said, use the obstacle. And he said, what's that mean? He said, well, if it's a comedy, trip over it. If it's a drama, kick it through. Okay, so Lily, you're facing an obstacle in your business right now, an obstacle with these executors. Use the obstacle and it as an excuse to go build some relationships with some local community banks and personal bankers there, business bankers there. Talk to them about your business, solve this problem for your clients, but you're also going to add more team members and more referral partners into your business by going to your local banks and finding people that are able to open an account. This is not something that is a major obstacle. You'll find a bank that's going to open an account for 3 executors. That's not going to be a problem for you. You just need to go find them and use this obstacle as an excuse to go build those relationships.
And Lily, go into the chat comments in true mastermind fashion. John Cooper, he also chatted in his response as well. You know, you can check with attorneys and figure out which bank is going to be, you know, the easiest to open up a trustee account or an estate account and those types of things. It's a relationship building opportunity, to Bruce's point.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. I've been actually looking forward to Travis. Travis, unmute yourself. I don't think I know you, Travis. I might. If I do, please forgive me. I've been looking forward to you jumping on because you chatted your question in, and I was going to ask you in chat for some clarification. So this is my chance.
Apologies. I got on the call prior to actually reading. I see that this is the probate class, not the overages. So I really had a really quick question in regards. I just signed on as of yesterday. So I started reading the information last night. You know, I'm literally just starting on the videos and whatnot. So I am a real estate broker for over 20 years now. Never really got into the probate business. But do you guys on the website actually have flyers and things I can use for advertisement to promote myself to attorneys locally? Do you have all of that online?
Mostly online. There are some resources that you will get with your what we call an MIS, so marketing implementation specialist. That's going to be kind of your account manager once you're with us. That's the person that helps you with any marketing needs that you have, websites, flyers, mailers. Inside of the portal for you, Travis, and anyone else that maybe hasn't gotten into the system a whole lot yet, there is a drop down called Mailbox Motivator, and there's lots of letter templates in there and postcard templates. When it comes to your handouts and things like that, that's going to be in our catalog, and your marketing implementation specialist can get you those brochures, flyers, handouts, door hangers, different things like that. Now, my recommendation when you go to attorneys is probably going to be to take goodies, because you want something that draws people to the front desk. So
entices them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not going in to talk to that attorney necessarily, especially if they don't know me. I'm going in to talk to the paralegal, and then about the third time I've dropped my goodies off at the front desk, everyone's going to come up and go, "Yeah, you're the guy that brings these by. I was always wondering who that was." So
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then maybe a stack of brochures with it.
Got you. Second question. I know you, with all the leads, we can pay for lead sources and whatnot. But I currently, being a real estate broker, I use a skip trace guy also to find like vacant properties properties in my area.
Mhm.
I would assume your guys do something similar to that to find the possible probate properties that are available. I'm curious to know, my skip trace guy, would it be any different from yours when you're trying to find the properties or not? Because I haven't asked him about probate leads. It's mostly just specifically vacant properties in New York and New Jersey.
Yep.
And he's capable of getting me like cell phone numbers and emails, and then I reach out to him, and a lot of text messaging, a lot of voicemails, and then they eventually pick up and call or text me back, and that's how I get in the door.
Yep.
So your guy, I mean, for the probates and whatnot, what are the costs on that? I'm just curious to know.
Sure. So prices vary by county for those that are not getting leads. Prices vary by county. It depends on how many leads there are and what kind of resources we need to put into pulling those out. So it typically starts with a researcher that goes to the courthouse and pulls all the leads. Here's what I want you to know, Travis, is that somewhere in the vicinity of 70 to 80% of probates are going to have some real estate connected to the estate somehow. Some of those are going to be beneficiary assets that don't have to pass through probate, but they're still connected. They just don't have to go through probate. At least you know that it's a high percentage that there is real estate involved. Personally, I find in any given market that somewhere between 40 and 60% of your probate cases will have not only real estate, but real estate that will be sold within the next 18 months. 18 months is a long time. That's sort of an unusual amount of time for someone that needs to sell real estate. But some people just procrastinate. Most of those are going to be selling in that 5 to 6 month range. Some of them are going to sell in week number 1. Those are the people that were sitting there like just waiting. Please pass away so that I can sell the house and get money. I hate to say it like that. I don't mean it in a bad way, but you've got the family members that just can't wait to get a hold of a house so they can sell it and make money. Most people are going to be in that 5 to 7 month window before they sell. Now, with that said, recognize that when we give you our leads, we're giving decedent information, decedent last known address, which is very frequently tied to the real estate that's in the estate. Not always. Sometimes I see an apartment or a nursing home on their last known address, and they also have a house. We're giving you the personal representative. We have skip traced for the personal representative's primary address. We're giving you additional heirs and skip traced for phone numbers. Our skip tracing process runs through multiple different skip tracing channels. So it's not just one. It's not like we're plugging it into like a prop stream and giving you a single phone number or something. We're running it through a few channels so that it has a higher level of accuracy than just like one source gave us one phone number. It's normally going to be 2 or 3 sources or 4 sources gave us all the same phone number, so that you know that at least they had that phone number at some point in the recent past and probably still do. Then there's Property Plus. Property Plus is for those that are doing a significant amount of mailing and want to save money on the mailing. Property Plus is an add-on for those of you that are doing significant mailing. It runs it through several additional skip tracing sources for real estate only. So you guys remember 70%, maybe as high as 80% will have real estate. Property Plus figures out who the 20 or 30% are that probably didn't have real estate. And it gives you a chance to scrub those out, and it'll give you specific pinpointed addresses on people that have real estate somehow connected to the estate. So Property Plus is really good for those that are doing a bunch of mail, because it helps you scrub out the 20 or 30% that don't have real estate and just scrub them out of your campaign, save money in the long run on mail. So I would say that, yeah, we're probably going to have a higher degree of skip tracing than most other sources or skip tracing people, because we're using a bunch of different platforms for that. Okay, Travis, I don't know. I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself again. I don't know if I covered all the nuance of your question. Did that cover most of that?
Yeah, it did. It did.
Okay.
You did. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Travis.
One more quick thing to mention is, Travis, you said you just signed up. And for anyone who's brand new, you will receive a welcome packet in the mail, which will make sure that you have all of the contact information for your MIS. And we actually send you a couple samples of our mailings and some marketing materials so you can kind of touch and feel them and get an idea of what we can offer. Just wanted to mention that as well. So look out for that in the mail.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Alyssa. Alyssa, would you stay on, because we're coming up toward the top of the hour, and I do want to let you guys know about kind of our March Madness promotion and our social motivator promotion. Alyssa, would you chime in on that really quickly, just so I don't mess it up?
Sure. So it is our next week ends our March Madness deals. We've had them running for most of the month of March. I'll post those again here for anyone who hasn't seen them yet. One second here, but we do have some really good deals. We've got options for people that are potentially interested in prepaying leads, offering some pretty steep discounts there. So definitely something to look into if you're a current subscriber or you are a new subscriber who's potentially interested in signing up with us. We've also got bundles. So for people who are interested in kind of getting started, we have some starter pack bundles, so to speak, that really are going to give you everything you need to kind of hit the ground running. That comes with mailing credits. That's going to give you a website, an additional training credit if you want to join any of Bruce's trainings that aren't free. And I believe we also give you a free marketing material. I'm dropping those in the chat now for anyone who hasn't had the opportunity to see those. So definitely take a look at that and see if it's something you'd be interested in. Buzzer Beater is our mail incentive for March Madness, which is essentially if you've been sitting on leads that you know you need to get to, you know you need to market to them, and you just haven't touched them. If they're 3 months or older, we want you to get started on those. So we're going to go ahead and give you a discount on ordering some mail to those leads. So if you have lists that are 3 months or older from us, or you have historicals that are 3 months or older, give your MIS a call and we'll get you some mail. Make sure you place those orders this week or next week to get that discount. And then I did also want to touch on the social motivator. We did launch our new social media marketing platform. So we actually will create content for you and post on your social media pages. We've got a dashboard set up that you can securely link your profiles to. We will create the graphics, we'll create videos, we'll create blog posts for you. We've got a bunch of different options for that to complement your additional efforts. It works really well with a website as well. Did want to mention that if you have a current active website with us, you automatically will get $50 off of your social motivator setup fee. So they work really well in tandem. If you're interested, reach out to your MIS for some more information. I also posted the link to that in the chat if you want to check out the pricing options, as well as there's some samples posted on that page so you can get an idea. And then same thing with the Alley-oop bundle. If you're interested in that bundle, but you already have a website with us, if you're interested, we can we can switch out the website with a social motivator package if it's something you're interested in. So definitely reach out, talk to your MIS, and we'll see what we can do to get you set up. If you guys have any questions about our March Madness deals, feel free to reach out to support. Feel free to reach out to your MIS, and they'll be able to answer any questions that you might have. But don't wait. March is almost over.
All right. Thanks, Alyssa. You delivered it much better than I would have, so I appreciate that. Guys, I've got a bunch of questions in chat. To add to the plug that Alyssa just made, I'm going to tell everyone that they need to be following our YouTube channel. They need to be in our Facebook Mastermind group. It's All the Leads Mastermind. And you need to subscribe to our podcast and also go on to our Instagram. Alyssa, unmute yourself and tell us what it is again. Because of this particular reason. Those of you that I don't get to your questions, because we're coming up on, we're going to run out of time here in a minute. If I don't get to your chatted in questions, I will be answering those via video. So we're going to put those out in short form video where I pop the question up TikTok style or reel style. I answer the question and then we'll put it onto our social platforms. So it's Instagram.com/ all the leads team, and be watching out for those reels and posts where I answer any questions we didn't get to today. I do want to answer 2 of those quick questions really quickly. Number 1 is from Lewis. Is can you purchase a property? And if you're an agent, can you list a property and sell a property if the probate has not been completed yet? And it doesn't matter. Lewis mentioned where he was living. All over the country, you can absolutely sell a house that is not through probate yet. Absolutely. And there's a huge misconception among agents, investors, and personal representatives alike that they have to wait till probate is over to sell. That is absolutely not the case. Now, probate has to be filed, but it doesn't have to end. You sell the property as long as the proceeds from the property go into the estate's bank account. Then you're fine selling the house. If the house is in probate, in other words, it's not a beneficiary asset being passed outside of probate, but if it's in probate, the family can't touch that money until probate closes, but they can absolutely sell it and stop paying a mortgage and taxes and utilities on there. So it's in their best interest to sell as quickly as possible. But just recognize that most PRs that you're going to deal with don't know that. So it's your job to diplomatically educate them on that without them feeling like they've been mansplained to. Okay, so diplomatically, and that goes for you ladies as well. You can mansplain things to people also and make them feel like you're just condescending. So don't correct people, but educate them in a polite way. And a lot of times the reason that people take 6-7 months to sell a house in probate is because they think that they're not allowed to sell it. So educate. And then Victor had asked, what's the best marketing source that brings the most ROI? Cold calls, mailers, text messages. Okay. This takes me back to something that I heard Gary Vaynerchuk say one time. They asked him what the ROI was on social media. And he said, I don't know. What's the ROI of your mother? And they were like, what does that mean? And he said, I don't know. My mom was everything. I couldn't pin an ROI to my mom. He said, it's everything that I am today is because of the way that my mom brought me up. And I'm going to say the same thing to you guys, is sometimes you're looking for that perfect thing. What's going to get the best return? And it's the combination of everything that really works. However, I'm going to let you guys know that you do want to baby step by getting a mail piece out the door. So baby step by getting a mail piece out the door. A single mail piece is unlikely to produce a result. It's not likely that you're going to send a single mail piece out and get calls saying, hey, I just got your letter. Come sell my house. Come buy my house. But what it is it's a warm up to the phone call. So the combination of those two things is what really works. Then you'll add a few more mail pieces in so that over time your mail works, especially in conjunction with your call and texts. So here's my process. 6 months worth of mail. If you're in a rural market, you can get by with a little bit less. If you're in an urban market, a little bit more competition, you probably want to do more. But 6 months worth of mail. I want to call 3 times in the first 2 weeks. If I don't get those people, I'm going to call them once a month afterward for the next 5 months approximately. Okay. After that first month, so maybe the 3rd or 4th call, I'm going to start leaving voicemails on every effort and texting in between. Okay, so the combination effort works. All 3 of those independently will work, but independently, they're going to work at a low level. Combined together, they're going to work at a high level. So there isn't any one of those things that's going to work flawlessly and brilliantly on an island by itself. but the combination. To start with, one mailer out the door to warm up your phone call. Make a couple of phone calls in that first week to 10 days. Maybe a couple of days, a week later, do a text, and then start putting people on a monthly call system. Now, again, remember, one mail piece out the door. If that's all you're doing, it's only going to really serve to warm that call up. So you probably over time want to add those extra pieces into your campaign as well. But don't get overwhelmed by thinking that you've got to create 8 mail pieces all on day one. Create one. Add another one in a few weeks, and another one in a few weeks. And before long, you're going to have a full mail campaign built and on autopilot where you really don't have to think about it anymore. All right. So for those of you that I didn't get to your question, be following our socials, and I'll make sure that we get your questions answered in video answer format soon. Is there anything else from our other coaches, or should I go to Jim? Let's go to Jim.
Here.
You're on mute, Jim.
I just realized that. Thank you. Another great call, guys. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today, particularly thank those that actively participated. I want to challenge all of you, take one great idea that inspired you on this call, go out and put it into practice, and please come back next Thursday and share the results with the group. Have a great week, everybody. Talk to you same time next Thursday. Take care.